Uh, Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Dynamite or Might. I, Michael Cole, with Tony Schiavone and with Taz, and today on Dynamite or Might, we're gonna learn who will be fighting Cody Rhodes for the TWF Heavyweight and World Heavyweight winnings. Michael Cole says, since Rainbow Bright gave up her right to fight Cody Rhodes for the TWF Heavyweight and World Heavyweight winnings. Michael Cole says. You got that right, Tony Schiavone said. The TWF leadership team has been working hard to come up with whoever will fight Cody Rhodes for the TWF Heavyweight and World Heavyweight winnings, Tony Schiavone says. Well, I could tell you what right now, Taz, that whoever that Hunter Hearst Helmsley or Astronema or Daniel Bryan has come up with is not going to, whoever he or she is going to be lucky. But that's if they can even seat Cody Rhodes, because he's been buried again, went missing again, Taz says. Well, I think it was dumb of Rainbow Bright to even give up her right and put the TWF leadership team into this bind, in this bind that they now seek themselves in. That they now seek themselves in, Taz says. Well, speaking about one fighter that we do know who doesn't care who she wrestles or who she fights, I think it was kind of dumb she did that, Taz says. Well, here is Roxanne Perez. Yeah, everyone, it's me, Roxanne Perez. Although I know my true name is by Cara Gonzalez, but the whole world knows me as Roxanne Perez, one of the greatest women wrestlers ever. And at 21 or 22 years of old, I have done things in ROW, ROH, and WWE. Let me list off all the things I did in RRW. The Booker and Sharmell Ruffman owned wrestling business. I was a former ROW women's heavyweight fighter. Then, when I was in Ring of Honor, this was back when St. Clair still owned it, before it was sold over to Shao Kahn and Anthony Kong, I was one of the ROH women's heavyweight winnings. And I was the first ROH women heavyweight fighter. Then when I went to WWE, I won the WWE NXT women's heavyweight winnings 2 times. Former WNXT women tag team fighter when that was a thing. And now I am the TWF women's heavyweight fighter. So I've done things that most other women wrestlers couldn't even do. And I beat everyone that they put at me. You know how many times that Athena or Ember Moon came at me, and how many times I had to beat that bitch down? Sundriest times. You want to know how many times Madison Rain, or whatever she wants to call herself, came at me? I beat her down once. So, and she went missing. Is that right? I went missing, huh? Well, that's so funny, Roxanne. I forgot to laugh. Because here I am now, Roxanne Perez. I didn't go missing now. See, I heard you talk about all the things you did in ROW and ROH and WWE. I mean, you behave as if you're the only woman wrestler to ever do anything. I'll give you some thanks that you did it in a little time, and you only were 22 years old when you did all that shit. But if you're behaving as if you're the only woman wrestler to ever win winnings in sundry other wrestling businesses, think again. because I won the TNA Women's Heavyweight winnings at least 5 times, and I was a one-time TNA Women Tag Team fighter. So, but Madison Rayne, no one gives two shits about what you did. Oh, you spent your whole time in TNA. You had about 3 or 4 runs in TNA. They called you the Queen Bee. What the fuck was all that about? And instead of going to WWE, you go to AEW? Ah, isn't that so fun? You know, you were in WWE in the Mae Young Classic or the Mae Young wrestling show. I think it was the first one. Or I think it was a 2 diff one you were in. You went by your true name, Ashley Rayne, instead of your ring name, Madison Rayne. But let me guess, you couldn't cut it in WWE? I had my grounds to why I never went to WWE, or why I only had one-offs in WWE. And who knows, maybe one day I will go to WWE. But I can tell you what, Roxanne Perez, I was the first TWF women heavyweight fighter. You know, I was the first one to hold that strap there that you have now. So why don't we both have a match here today, and I'll show you what the former TNA women's heavyweight fighter and former TNA women tag team fighter can do to the former ROW women's heavyweight fighter, former ROH women's heavyweight fighter, 2-time WWE NXT women heavyweight fighter, 1-time WWE NXT women tag team fighter. Yeah, let's bring down the Fight Lord, and then I can shame you, Madison Rayne, and send you back to and say that I didn't beat only one AEW woman wrestler, but another one. And I truly wish that it was Gail Kim coming out and making this match. Sorry to let you down, Daniel Bryan says, but Gail Kim will be here next week, because next week will be the 2 diff month. And that's when Gail Kim came to the TWF. But right now, she's too busy. So yeah, as the main overseer of the TWF, I will now have Madison Rayne take on Roxanne Perez for the TWF Women's Heavyweight winnings here today on Dynamite or Might. So have fun. And by the way, Roxanne Perez, you are going to be wrestling a former TNA woman wrestler, now AEW woman wrestler. If she's wrestles in AEW. Well, Daniel Bryan coming out and making the match, Michael Cole says, and now Roxanne Perez had just talked herself into a bind that she didn't want to be in. You know, Michael Cole says, I'll tell you right now, Tony Schiavone said Roxanne Perez behaves as if she's the only woman wrestler to ever do anything outside of WWE. I mean, yeah, she may have done it in a short time, but she's not the first one to ever do it. Well, this match is Taz says, a lot of women wrestlers have done things outside of WWE, but they haven't done it in a short time like Roxanne Perez has done, Taz says. And that's how she is unlike all those other ones out there, Taz says. This match is for the TWF Women Heavyweight winning. First, she is Madison Rayne, and she is the TWF Women Heavyweight fighter, Roxanne Perez. Meaning, well, first off, Michael Cole said if Booker T was here, he would be saying how Roxanne Perez was one of the greatest wrestlers that ever worked for him, and she could do no wrong, and, you know, drop kicked on Madison Rayne, and then a body slam. Yeah, Tony Schiavone says he would be saying how she's unbeatable, unstoppable, and unyieldable. and that the way she's behaving and all the things she says and does is what everybody should do in the skilled wrestling business. Tony Schiavone said, "Hey," Taz says, "I spent most of my time in WCCW and ECW and WWE being in TNA and AEW being a heel. You know, being a baby leader doesn't help you, doesn't win you straps. I should tell you that," Taz says. So Michael Cole said, "What you're going to say is you think Roxanne Perez is right for being a heel?" Well, she missed right in the ring post, the ring steeple. And now Madison Rayne now going to make fun of Roxanne Perez and want to do pop rocks, but really couldn't get the hold right, Tony Schiavone says. Well, that's right, Michael Cole says. Madison Rayne's going to come off on the top rope and down on Roxanne Perez. And will the former TNA woman heavyweight fighter beat Roxanne Perez here today? 1, 2, and a kick out. Only 2, Michael Cole says. Well, Tony Schiavone says Madison Rayne, who has been in TNA for about 5 or 4 runs before going to AEW, you know, and Roxanne Perez is in a bind right now of her own making. Her mouth put her in that bind, Tony Schiavone said. Her mouth did not put her in any bind, Taz says. It's just the leadership, the ownership and leadership of the Toy Wrestling Gathering just doesn't like Roxanne Perez because she's done things in a short time that no one else could do. Taz says, Is that what you believe it is? They're irked and angered over her doing things at 22 that most women wrestlers haven't done at that time? Tony Schiavone says. Well, Michael Cole says, will Madison Rayne win the strap here? And if she does, will she shut up Roxanne Perez? 1, 2, and only a 2. And so far, it's still not working out for her. Wait a minute. Roxanne Perez said, "Oh, I gotta bind my shoe." Yeah, she gotta bind her shoe. Made it look, oh! And there we go. Pop rocks. Roxanne Perez faked in Madison Rayne out, Michael Cole said, and told everyone she had to bind her shoe. And Tony Schiavone said, sadly, Madison Rayne fell for it, Tony Schiavone says. Yeah, Taz says, Roxanne Perez outwised, Madison Rayne. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Here is your winner, and still the TWF Women's Heavyweight Fighter, Roxanne Perez. Well, Roxanne Perez is still a TWF Women's Heavyweight Fighter, and she had to fake out Madison Rayne, Michael Cole says, and make everyone think that she had to bind her shoe. And sadly, she didn't have to bind her shoe, Michael Cole says. Yeah, Tony Schiavone said once again, Roxanne Perez once again has to do some kind of unfair, cheat in some way to get a win, over Madison Rayne. Fuck. Tony Schiavone said, well, Cal said, love her or hate her, you still can't say she outwised Madison Rayne, and she is still the TWF Women's Heavyweight Fighter. That is truly cool that she outwised Madison Rayne like that. Taz says, I like how Roxanne Perez outwised Madison Rayne. Made her think she had to bind her shoes. But really, it was nothing more to help her win the match. It's so great. Alright, everyone. I guess that is your thought on it, Michael Cole says. I truly think it's truly unfair of what she did. Take it away. Take it away, Joey Styles. All right. Thank you, Michael Cole and Tony Schiavone. We're going to be talking with Roxanne Perez here today on Dynamite or Might. Once again, Roxanne Perez, you do something unfair. You do something cheating to keep the TWF women heavyweight winnings. Well, first off, Tony Schiavone. First off, Joey Styles. You should say, oh my God, Roxanne Perez is still the TWF women heavyweight fighter. Oh, you don't want to do that anymore? You used to say it all the time in your ECW run, and kind of in the beginning of your WWE run. But whatever, I outwised Madison Rayne. I made everyone think that Madison Rayne was going to beat me. I made them think I had to bind my shoe. And Madison Rayne, I suppose, grew the most like the wise and skilled former 5-time TNA women heavyweight fighter. And you know that AEW woman wrestler ended up losing to me. So that doesn't make her so wise. I guess it does not, Roxanne Perez. I guess it doesn't make her wise if she ended up losing to you in some way. But how can you live with yourself after you shifted heel and all the things you've been doing? Well, because being a baby lair didn't get me over. And like my old teacher Booker T told me, it's all about gals and winnings. And being a baby lair doesn't get you anywhere. Well, that's my talk with Roxanne Perez. Back to you, Michael Cole and Tony Schiavone. Well, thank you, Joey Styles. Alright, thank you, Joey Styles, for talking with Roxanne Perez here today on Dynamite or Might. And that's all the time we got here for Dynamite or Might. I, Michael Cole, with Tony Schiavone and Taz. We hope you like Dynamite or Might, and we'll see you tomorrow for Impact or Hit.